it would open up country to Russia that would be very hard to defend if hostilities broke out again. By the same token, we're hearing this very negative reaction from Moscow to the idea of a peacekeeping force, which is something that, you know, the president and his allies today are all agreed on, and that's a great idea. Putin may have accepted it in principle, but whether he will accept it in practice, I mean, if they won't take countries, European countries who happen to be NATO members participating in such a thing, then how would you ever do it? So my thought about this is that I think the president has come a long way on this. He deserves a lot of credit for doing it. But my sense about this is, in terms of the negotiations, that there's quite a long way to go.
Yeah, Guy, as you put up, if you could put up all of the leaders that were there today, who were there, this is historic. It's never really happened. We went back in the history of the White House, and there have been a number of leaders there for social gatherings. But as far as a actual diplomatic move like this, to have this many world leaders together on this one issue around the table is historic in and of itself.
It is, and if you look at that graphic and you see some of the names and faces there, it represents quite a spectrum of political thought on the continent of Europe, right? So you have someone more on the right, or even the populist right, in Meloni from Italy. Then you have all the way out on the left, Mr. Starmer from Great Britain, center left, Mr. Macron from France, center right, the new German leader. They're all together on this question, probably not on a number of other questions, but on this one, they're in total agreement, and they're finally seeming to understand that this sneering posture, collectively from Europe, a sneering posture towards Trump in particular and the United States in general is completely counterproductive. And hey, maybe if we work together, and it's not just flattering Trump's ego, it's recognizing what he's achieved and his leadership here, maybe that is the better course of action. I think the chief of NATO figured that out quite a while ago, and they're starting to take maybe some cues from him. But again, as we said earlier in the program, the overall tone of this meeting, which is important actually, is strikingly different and almost worlds apart from the real problem that Zelensky found himself in back in February.
Yeah. Mark, we had commitments from the Ukrainians and from President Zelensky. He was going to be here. We thought the meeting was going to end at about 5:30, and we were adjusting as time went on, just to give you behind the scenes here. It is possible
a reflection of this administration's commitment to collective defense and working with our European allies on dealing with the most destructive land war since the Second World War. The question I would have is, if we get to the point where we have a negotiated settlement, peace at what price? This is Vladimir Putin's war. Russia is illegally occupying 20% of Ukraine. A land swap, I think, for Ukrainians, especially those who fought against those Russian invaders, that's a euphemism for capitulation. I think we're going to have to be super careful about how we deal with the territorial issues here, especially in Donbass, where the line of contact right now, heavily fortified, and probably presents the best way we could deter any future Russian aggression.
Yeah, Britt, you know, the president wants to be in this role. He wants to be peacemaker in chief. He's clearly done it numerous times, 6 by all counts, of different places around the world where he's stepped in. He wants to do it this time. The question is, can he do it with somebody like Vladimir Putin?
I think that is the question, Fred, and I think it's fair to say that this president has shown remarkable energy, and I think a much deeper understanding of the world than he might have had when he was first elected back in 2016, and he has done a lot. And he has done a lot to pull together the alliance you saw in display today. But the question, I think, now is, as to whether he can pull this off, comes down to what Dan was talking about, which is this. Putin wants not only the territory in eastern Ukraine and the Donbass that his military has taken, but he wants the part that Putin has not taken. And that part consists of very important areas for the defense of Ukraine should there be further hostilities. And I think it's probably impossible for
McDonald's, first one, Interlaker in northern Kentucky.